Yo, what's going on, guys? And today, shout out Sam Vecini for this. Heading into the Final Four week, my Miami Hurricanes, or soon to be my Miami Hurricanes, about to graduate from the University of Kansas and go to University of Miami for graduate school, are in the Final Four. But let's talk about this draft class. Shout out Sam Vecini for his mock draft. And let's get right into it. Sam Vecini is a dog. And right here, he has Detroit Pistons taking Victor Wembanyama, the 7'4" with a near 8-foot wingspan. Is just, it doesn't make sense. And this is a team that they got Victor Wembanyama, Isaiah Stewart, Jalen Duren, James Wiseman, Victor Wembanyama. That team, that front court, at least it'll be figured out. Second pick, Houston Rockets, Scoot Henderson. And there's a race between Brandon Miller and Scoot Henderson for the second overall pick right here. I think the Rockets need a point guard, so Scoot Henderson's the guy. At 3, the Spurs, Brandon Miller. All right. Brandon Miller is a guy who has a lot of tools that NBA's teams are looking for in a wing. Now, Brandon Miller is on a cold streak to finish the season. I mean, he shot during the tournament 3 for 19 and turned the ball over 6 times. It wasn't great, but hey, Brandon Miller would fit perfect next to Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell. At 4, Amen Thompson. Imagine Amen Thompson and LaMelo Ball would be one of the most interesting duos. 5, Cam Whitmore. 230 pounds. Great player. Defensively, he hasn't quite figured it out, but he's pretty good. Cam Whitmore is allegedly going to be picked between 4 and 10. At 6, the Wizards. They take Amen Thompson's brother, Asar, who's more of a wing type player. And supposedly, Sam Vecini says he gets the Andre Iguodala vibe, and they like the idea of Kuzma, Beal, Corey Kispert, and Amen Thompson. Asar Thompson. My apology. Asar also, though, if we drafted him, that kind of like marked the end of Denny Avdia. That's why I think if Anthony Black's available, the Wizards should take Anthony Black because we need a point guard. But here at 7, Trailblazers take Anthony Black, who I think is the best player in this year's draft. Seriously, he's going to be the Josh Giddey, Tyrese Halliburton of this draft class. At 8, Jarace Walker. Indiana Pacers get themselves the man-child, 6'8", 7'2" wingspan with a 240-pound frame who can do a little bit of everything. Play power forward or small ball. 5, score, block shots. 9, Taylor Hendricks. I'm a big fan of his, and this is a guy who can play the 4 or the 5. Block shots, shoot over everyone. I think he could be a really good player in the NBA, and he's definitely worked himself into the conversation of going to the lottery. Raptors, Cassell Wallace. I've heard a lot of people go that he's very similar to Drew Holiday, and I agree with that. Defensive pass first guy who's got a good 3-point shot. 11, Grady Dick. His ranking has fallen. I've seen him go between 12 and 19, and I've said this. He's got that high release point at 6'8", similar to Cam Reddish, but I see his game being, Klay Thompson light with a mix of, a better version of Kevin Huerter with stronger rebounding and defensive ability. I love Grady Dick. I go to the University of Kansas, but this is a guy that he needs to work on his ball handling skills. It's just he's going to be a sniper in the league. Very similar. I see him having a similar role to Kevin Huerter on the Kings. Jordan Hawkins, he's climbed up, and that 3-point shooting is legit. And over here, Sam Vecini compares him to Isaiah Joe, Isaiah Joe is one of the most lethal 3-point shooters in the league, hitting 42% on 5 threes in just 18 minutes a night this season. And Joe is going to be cheap for another 2 years in Oklahoma City. Jordan Hawkins, going to be, after people seeing what Isaiah Joe's doing, they're definitely going to want him. Jalen Hood-Schifino. And right here, Sam Vecini says he reminds him of Dyson Daniels. I said he reminds me of Grievous Vasquez. And he's going to be a wing. Even though he was a guard in college, he's going to be a wing. Derek Lively, I mean, Derek Lively tore it up to close the season. And I think if you look right here, Derek Lively, if the Lakers took him, would the Lakers keep their pick? I don't know if they keep their pick. Mo Bamba hasn't worked out for them, but Derek Lively, maybe they just go for it. Keontae George to Knicks. I've heard he's an Eric Gordon type guy. If you want like an Eric Gordon type player. Nick Smith, I've heard the Jamal Murray, Jordan Crawford. Here's the Hawks. If I'm the Hawks and Knicks, I would rather go for Leonard Miller right here. Leonard Miller, he's saying Sam Vecini saying he's got to see some Chris Bosh in Leonard Miller. Leonard Miller used to be a point guard in Canada. Then he grew to 6'10" and became a wing forward. And he's an absolute dog in the G League. 20 points, 13 rebounds, 2.5 assists, a steal and a block per game in the final 13 games of the season. Kyle Filipowski. I've heard him be compared to a bigger Naz Reid, like similar play style and similar role in the NBA. Brian Sensabaugh is retaining his college eligibility. He's probably going in and seeing his feedback. 3-and-D wing. Chris Murray. Hey, I've said he's kind of like a Marcus Morris type player. Not the shot creator that Keegan is, but he's still a really good player. Kobe Bufkin. He's a guy who rose up, outperformed a lot of people, and sophomore guy. I could see him being a late first round pick because of his efficiency and consistency. Dariq Whitehead, 3-and-D wing, my apology. And he suffered a massive injury, but again, like, he can be a modern day 3-and-D wing. Rain Rupert's one of my favorite players, but it seems like he's sliding down the draft. Even though he's 6'7" with a 7'3" wingspan and a dog on defense, he can dribble. It's just the offense. He can't shoot it real well, and he's a former point guard, but not strong enough to run the wing and everything. And this is a very project player. Jet Howard, Juwan Howard's son, to the Kings, and I like that. He needs to work on his defense. Noah Clowney, 6'10", 7'3". I see him be a guy who could have either be a Xavier Tillman or a Isaiah Stewart. Gigi Jackson, he's really fallen down the draft board, but he's 18. He needs to go somewhere where he can get minutes. I would love to see him go to Memphis. Julian Strawther, okay, this guy's a shooter, gets shooters around him. Same thing with Max Lewis. These are two guys who can shoot it, and hopefully the athleticism carries over to the defensive side. Colby Jones is like Josh Hart mixed with Draymond Green, and he's a guy who can do a little bit of everything, and he can shoot threes now. Marcus Sasser, one of the best defensive players in this year's draft. And if you look at the second round, Jaime Jaquez, they have going 32nd overall. Jalen Wilson, second round pick. Wow, Terquavian Smith, second round pick. That one's shocking. Or he counts on the fourth second round pick. I'm trying to see if there's anyone. There's Zach Edey still getting drafted. One guy that we're seeing, James Nanji. Is he going to be a good player? Let me hear your thoughts down below. That's the video. Goodbye.